Hey everyone, before we dive in, I just want to be upfront. I am a distributor of See Bigger magnifiers, but everything I'm sharing in this video today is purely based on my experience as an optometrist. Patients and practitioners should always make their own decisions based on what works best for them and their patients. Now, let's get into it. Today we're looking at three magnifiers: Diamond, Eschenbach, and Angel. Eschenbach is the most popular magnifier in Australia, so we're going to use that as the benchmark and we're going to see how the others compare. Let's start with Eschenbach first. Okay, it doesn't feel too heavy. It's quite light and it feels okay to hold and feels fairly light. Now, the Diamond feels a little bit heavier, but actually feels great in my hand. It actually feels like it's built really well and it grips really nicely. Now, the Angel's a little bit heavier, but it's putting less strain on my wrist compared to when I had to hold the Eschenbach. So we're going to look more at this in detail, I think, later on. So my first impressions, the Eschenbach's rectangular shape's quite interesting. I see what they were trying to do, but in practice, the viewable area is about 40 to 50% smaller than the other two. And from what I've seen with patients, most people don't keep a magnifier in a fixed position. They scan across the page. So that extra 40 to 50% of lens space makes a difference for tracking smoothly. So let's see how we go on white on black background. So you can see that there's a lot of distortion around the edges and magnification is not uniform across the lens. And if we have a look with the Diamond, you can tell that the writing is very uniformly magnified. You can easily scan the page there and it's clear and crisp. And if we look at the Angel, it has higher magnification than Diamond and it's got a little bit more peripheral distortion, just slightly, compared to the Diamond, but you know, the larger lens is making it definitely easier to be able to track what's going on in the page. So using the Eschenbach now, we're going to look at a black on white, so i.e. a magazine, right? And if we take a look, you can see how definitely around the edges, there's a lot of distortion. The lines don't even look like they're straight. And it's just not a pleasant viewing experience overall. The actual clear area is just very tiny. So compare it to this. Now this is the Diamond. Look how clear that is around the edges. Look how easy it is to track the page. No effort needed really in this one. Crisp, sharp image. Looking at Angel now, again, quite easy to track through the page, but we can start to see a little bit of distortion around the edges because of the higher magnification there. But again, much easier than the Eschenbach. The Eschenbach 3.5 magnifier costs $209, while the 3x version's $280. But the Diamond and Angel only cost $150. So it's quite a big difference there. In the same way, the lighting is hugely different too. So you've got daytime, evening, and glare reduction modes in those two magnifiers, but the Eschenbach only comes with a very simple LED at the back. And the problem with the LED is when it lights up, it only lights half of the page where it is, half of the viewing area. The further side to the LED of the viewing area becomes shaded. So it's actually very difficult to see properly. Now, lighting is really important when people are using magnifiers. So I think it's lacking in that area. So thanks guys for sticking with me going through the review. I hope you found that really useful. My overall summary is that the Eschenbach is just behind in its time. I feel it may have been good once upon a time, but the way you have to hold it at an angle, it's not comfortable on the wrist. I feel, you want it to be more straighter, but then you're not being able to track what you're actually trying to read. The light with the LED at the bottom, I wasn't a fan of that. It just, you lose some of the vision there because it's just highlighting only part and you're not actually getting enough brightness on that other text that you're reading. The clunkiness of the switch, my thumb just clicked right now while I was trying to push it up. Those people who have arthritis or poor thumb dexterity, it's not an easy on-off switch. It doesn't glide. It's actually you got to give it some force and then it goes into position. So I'm not an overall fan of the build of it. And I think the lens as well is too small. You're losing additional space that you could have, which will make it easier to track what you're reading. So overall, I feel not as happy with this one. Second from there was the Angel Magnifier, and I like this. I feel it's more robust. It is heavier, but it feels good in the hand. It's got an easy button on off for all the different light modes. There's no need for any attachments like there was on the Eschenbach. So the magnification is slightly greater in this than the Eschenbach, and it is actually nicer to use because the lens size is bigger. Yes, there's a little bit of distortion around the edge, but far less than what there was. So the reason why this is better than the Eschenbach is because the lens is made of glass. So it just allows better, crisper, sharper images with less color fringing around the edge. Now the diamond is my favorite. It allows instant access to clarity, and the light is superb on here as well. It's light. It's actually got a nice, comfortable grip. The button for the on-off is very simple. The lens is a decent size, has absolutely tiny amount of distortion around the edges, and I love that. This is definitely my favorite of the three. So just to recap, the diamond is a 3x magnifier and the angel is a 4x magnifier. So choose whichever is more appropriate for you.